I guess we'll be talking to him in three parts. What happened? I talked to him earlier in the week, okay, and I caught the conversation on phone talking to the one, the only Slash, my friends. So what's up?
Let's see, what's up? Now that you put me on the spot, I don't know. No, I'm putting a movie out.
Oh, are you?
No, yeah, right, man. I've heard a ton about it, dude.
Oh, well, I figured they would have told you at least.
Nothing left to fear.
I'm just gonna call. He just wants to say hey.
Oh yeah. Nothing left to fear is out. It's coming out right away. You're going to Toronto to premiere it and all that kind of stuff. And
yeah.
How do you like the movie business so far, my man?
Well, I mean, the movie business as a business is very similar in its own way to the music business. I don't necessarily relish the business aspect of it, but I love the creative part of it. And that's really, what got me into it, and the rest of it is just a necessary evil.
Like this part?
Well, no, this part's actually easy.
Yeah, what's the part that isn't easy?
Great. You just go out and tell people what's happening.
Yeah, that's right. I know the product will be good, though, right?
Yeah, it's great. And I was really, we did this like, with no budget and all that sort of stuff that you hear about. First time movies and all that kind of. But the people that we worked with, and I got a lot of favors done by some important practitioners, I guess you call them. The actors are great, and it was a lot of hard work, but it was a lot of fun to do, and ended up the quality I think is way beyond the amount of money that we really had. So that's always cool. I got to do the score, and I worked with a really great sound designer to do the score, and I'm really proud of that. And there's a song in the movie that Miles and I did that's really cool and very different than anything that we've done with the Conspirators. So, all in all, it's been a really positive experience.
Do you feel the pressure when it comes to a new media and a new form of a new art form for you? Do you feel that pressure or no?
When you say new art form, what do you mean? Like,
doing
a movie or
like a movie, like a new media for you.
Well, it's just fun. It's like I never have had. Sort of like, I don't know, I never saw to the future where it was all going to go.
Right.
You just do it for the love of doing it and the process and just the enjoying the artistic side of it. And then you just put it out there and you try to support it and go out and tell people you did it and, and see what happens. And so in the movie thing, it's the same kind of thing. I got into this just to make a movie that I would like, The horror genre is something that's very near and dear to me, and so given the opportunity to produce, I wanted to do movies that I sort of miss the style of, that they don't sort of make anymore.
Yeah.
And so and then you just put it out there and see what happens.
I've noticed too, with most horror movies out there nowadays, what they try and do is throw as much guts as they can at the screen.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what they go.
And that happens. That's what started happening basically from the late '80s all the way through the '90s. And I just lost complete interest in the whole. And I stopped going to horror movies.
Right.
For some of them are really well done, but for every well done, well written, well executed movie, there's 100 ones.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And so. After a while, it just got to be a little redundant. And when recently I started getting back into it because there has been sort of some really cool creative stuff that's come out. And I was given this opportunity to produce, and I thought, I'd really like to do movies that were more suspenseful and with more tension and more like mystique and psychological sort of torture than just having everything just spilled out on the plate.
I remember as a kid going to bed after watching a horror movie and having horrible nightmares. And that just doesn't happen anymore because it's almost like Alice Cooper actually said the thing he loves about horror movies is they're comedies. And nowadays, it just seems like they do try too hard. I don't go to a horror movie and come home and fear looking under my bed,
Well, they're not necessarily scary.
Right.
Or disturbing from a whole different point of view. They're unsettling, a lot of them.
Yeah.
But, there's this new sort of series of movies that James Wan has done have all been really sort of along the lines of what I'm talking about, where they're more creepy and scary and things that spook you and bumps that just make you jump out of your seat, as opposed to just sort of watching somebody slowly get torn apart, you know.
Yeah.
Like if you subconsciously know that's going to happen, it's scarier than actually watching it happen.
More of the interview with Slash coming up. First, Velvet Revolver. She builds quick machines on the wall. November 19th screening right across Canada. We continue my interview, I guess. I guess it's mine, but it's our interview.
It's your interview. I wasn't around for it. You got to handle something.
Slash. The actual filming process.
Right.
Did you envision certain sounds and certain music that would go with certain events as it was going along?
Well, this, you know, I mean, I obviously got into this from the very ground floor, so I started thinking about the music as soon as I sort of got the vibe, you know, of what the story was. And we're going to make this, and you start to get a real understanding of every nuance of the story, and it creates a vibe, and you start writing to that. So I started writing to the script and to the storyboards that the Anthony Leonardi, the director, was coming up with. And I think I had most of my parts written before we actually started shooting. And then when we did start shooting, the shooting date got backed up so much that I was on the road and I wasn't there for most of the shooting. And so I was getting all the dailies while I was on the road and doing it from there. So this is like really doing two things at once. You're touring, and then you get on the bus, you get to the hotel, and then you break out the laptop and you start looking at the dailies. And I started scoring from the road, and actually they would send me the reels, and I'd sync them up on Pro Tools and then do the guitar and send it back, and it was crazy. But yeah, you just start writing stuff and getting an idea, at least for me, pretty early on.
A friend of ours is Todd Kearns.
Right.
He's from my hometown, 1,500 people right here in Saskatchewan.
Oh, no, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I just talked to him, like, literally, well, I'd say 10 minutes ago.
How's he doing?
Yeah, he's great. He's great. Todd's the coolest character. I mean, if you know him, you know that. But he's you know, one of these guys, it was funny because I'd never met him before. He's living in Vegas, and he has, you know, a couple different bands and this and that and the other. And Brent, when I first met Brent, who's another guy from Canada that
Fitzy,
I never heard of.
Yeah.
Somebody recommended him to me when I was auditioning drummers for my first solo tour. And I had to put together a quick band to go out and support the record. And all these different guys, Miles Kennedy, Brent, I'd never met. And they just sort of, I called Miles because I'd heard so much about his voice. And then he and I hit it off, and I started looking for drummers, and I met Brent, and I had another bass player, and we all got together and started rehearsing, and he didn't fit. And Brent goes, you know, I know this guy named Todd. And I said, can he come down from Vegas today?
Yeah, and he probably did.
And he was the coolest, most perfect guy for the part. But not to mention, he's a great singer.
Oh, man.
He's like really very punk rock in his own polite, Canadian way. You know, one of the more punk rock guys that genuinely, you know have their punk roots, and a lot of these people that hang around you.
Well, I know he had some very nice things to say about you, too. So.
Oh, he did?
There you go. He's not bad-mouthing you or anything.
But, yeah, so he's great. And we start pre-production next month. And so I got all this new material. And I've been writing the whole time we were touring on the last record. I you know, since I don't spend all my time, you know, face down in the bar anymore, I just go to my room and I just start writing and recording ideas for the next record. So by the time the tour's over, I can get us back in the studio to get on the next recording out, you know, sooner than later, and get back out there.
Well, I'm one of those guys that's been listening to you since, oh God, it would scare the hell out of you to know when. But I gotta say, you're f***ing awesome. We love you. We've always loved you up here in Canada. Every time you guys come through, man, you guys got to come to Regina, like our city here. Okay?
Well, you know, I've been there before, but I didn't. We didn't on this last tour, or I actually, since this band gets together, so we will. But I remember coming through there either with Snake Pit or Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, well, actually, Velvet Revolver you did too. Yeah, that was a long time ago though. So you're due.
So we'll make it a point when we do like the full-on Canadian tour next year that I'll make sure it's on there.
Okay, I'm gonna hold you to it.
Yeah, I'll tell the promoter, you know, because that's the thing. I'm sort of the captain of my own ship now, so I can tell promoters, look,
good.
Just put it in there. Because well, there's no one's going to buy any tickets. They say, well, just stick it in between two paying gigs.
Well, good. We're right between Winnipeg and Calgary, so those are paying gigs.
Yeah, right.
And we're good. No, we'll sell it out, too. We'll do it.
No, I do that in general. I'm always fighting with my agent, who's fighting with the promoters, so that we can play like every city instead of just the main ones. Right. But it's a struggle because they really fight you on it.
Well, them.
Yeah, right. That's my motto.
Back to the movie. It's coming out, again, the Cross-Canada screening, September 19th. And then we can check it out on Blu-ray and DVD and all that fun stuff, right?
Yeah. That's it.
Dude, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting to see how you do the whole movie producer thing. Did you get the whole round horn that you bark at actors through? I know you weren't on set, but did you get one?
No. Even if I had been there the whole time, no. I think I'm just not that outspoken.
That's disappointing.
Even with a bullhorn or with the round horn, as you, yeah.
Right, I know.
Like the old school one. You have to go get that, and that becomes like, that's a personality thing where you go, I have acquired this ancient fucking artifact to you from afar with. You know what I mean? Everybody looks at you like he's crazy.
Some quick rapid-fire questions coming up with Slash next.
Chad and Ballsy in the morning on Regina's Rock Station, 104.9 The Wolf.
Wrapping things up with Slash. Okay, some rapid-fire questions to wrap things up here. Quickly, what's your favorite movie of all time? Horror movie or not?
Oh, that's a really broad question. All I can say is the movie that I've probably seen more than any other is Jaws.
Jaws?
I love Jaws.
Really? You know what? I saw it for the first time right before Shark Week this year.
Oh, yeah?
Isn't that pathetic?
Dude, I've seen it. I have to say I've seen it more than any other movie. And the next would be The Godfather. And the next would be The Omen.
What about The Big Lebowski?
No, I'm just trying to, off the top of my head, there's so many movies that I could go on and on and on about.
You ever had Tim Hortons coffee?
I do.
Yeah,
I do. I learned to like Tim Hortons coffee ages ago.
Did you?
So.
And what was your first car?
It was my first car.
Yeah.
Oh, the first car that I ever paid for was what was that thing? It was a CRX.
Well, like a Honda, yeah.
Yeah, a triple black CRX. That's when I first, when Appetite, like in 1989, like a couple years after Appetite, it was the first car I ever owned.
Really? The first paycheck?
It wasn't the first paycheck, but
one of them.
That was the first time because before that I never had any money, so I never had a car.
How many snakes do you own? Do you know?
Right. I have one snake that's at the zoo in Nashville, but other than that, I haven't had any reptiles since my first son was born, because all my snakes were like 10 feet or bigger.
Yeah.
He was coming. And it was a boy. I thought, this is an accident waiting to happen. And I was right, too, because he's very precocious. But since then, I had an anaconda, but since I'm on the road all the time, nobody here will take care of him. They're all scared of him. So I gave him to a friend who's got a big thing at the Nashville Zoo, and so he's over there.
And finally, I've read your book. I love it. Anything you regret putting in the book?
You know what? I know there's stuff in there because I've heard from people stuff about, and I tried, not to be like one of those guys that talks a lot of crap about a lot of people. But I mentioned people in circumstances that were supposed to point the finger at me by how crazy I was.
Yeah.
But mentioning any details put them in the spotlight, I guess. And so I was like, I could have avoided having gotten those phone calls. But, I'm one of those people that doesn't believe in regrets. You do something and you live with it.
Nothing left to fear. September 19th across Canada. I want to end this interview by saying Lemmy is God.
Yeah, he is.
He truly is. Thanks, Slash.
He is, man. All right, man. Have a good one. We'll see you around, yeah?
Yeah, you too. Come by.
All right, for sure.
All right, bye now.
There's only two